But I think the significant increase in testing costs that are involved in an amber country, it will mean for some people they'll just go, we'll have to lose those flights and we'll have to lose the money. It's not ideal. And I think the government's saying, but we always told you that international travel was going to be different this year. Well, there's a difference between different and difficult or almost impossible. And I think at the moment there needs to be much more clarity. Apart from anything else, we were told there was going to be this green watch list where countries that were at risk of going onto the amber list would be placed on a green watch list. That hasn't happened. The first update we've seen, they've instantly put Portugal, and not just Portugal, but Madeira and the Azores, who are thousands of miles away from Portugal mainland, all of them onto the amber list at the same time. The good thing to know is that at the moment there are the most flexible booking conditions I've ever seen in the industry. And so most people, hopefully, if they can't actually go on the flight because the flight's still running and isn't being cancelled, generally people will be allowed to rebook for a different date. This is the problem. I mean, what we saw was the fact that, huge numbers of flights were added to schedules for Portugal because it was one of the only places on the sort of traditional med destinations that we could go to when the list was announced just 2.5 weeks ago. So there were going to be, hundreds of flights coming up over the next month that now really won't be needed because not as many people will be able to travel. The fact that we have to quarantine for 10 days on return will mean for many people it's just not practical, and they won't be able to afford as well the increased testing that's involved in our amber country as well. So this really is a bit of an issue, and it does prove that actually the safest way at the moment, if you want to try to take a holiday, is to book a package with an established tour operator, because then the onus is on them to make sure that they're doing the right thing and only taking you away if there are no restrictions. Yes, it was a real surprise. Only on Monday did they actually put in new rules to say that anybody who wanted to enter France from the UK had to have an exceptional reason to do so and would have to self-isolate for 7 days. But we've heard today of a report on the reopening of borders in France that's now saying that from June the 9th, if you have 2 vaccinations, you no longer have to have that essential reason to travel, and you won't have to self-isolate. Now, you'll have had to have had those 2 jabs up to 14 days before your actual travelling. But it is good news. And obviously I can understand why, because for the French, tourism is a huge part of their economy, and they really are keen to get people back up and into the country again. Unfortunately, it's on the amber list. So when you come back, you are going to have to do your 10 days quarantine and your 2 tests.
It feels like the only certainty is in a staycation if you can still book one. Lisa Minot, travel editor there for The Sun. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Time for a check on the weather now.